What makes a name immortal? What makes a brand transcend time and space? Rolex, a symbol of ambition, precision, and resilience. But behind this iconic name lies a man, a dreamer who defied the odds and changed the way we see time itself. This is the untold story of Hans Wilsdorf, the man who turned tragedy into triumph and built an empire that stands as a monument to excellence. Our story begins in 1881 in the quaint town of Kulmbach, Bavaria, where Hans Wilsdorf was born into modest circumstances. Life dealt him a cruel hand when he lost both his parents before the age of 13. Orphaned and vulnerable, Hans found solace not in pity, but in purpose. He was determined to make his life extraordinary. Despite his hardships, Hans excelled in school. He was meticulous, disciplined, and curious. Little did anyone know this orphan from Bavaria would one day create the world's most coveted timepiece. Hans's journey into the world of watches began when he moved to Switzerland, the heart of horology. Here he worked for a Swiss watch export firm, where he learned the trade inside out. But Hans wasn't content with being a cog in the machine. He dreamed of creating something revolutionary, a wristwatch that was not just practical, but an enduring symbol of excellence. At the time, wristwatches were dismissed as fragile novelties, but Hans Wilsdorf believed otherwise. He saw the future: elegant, precise, and reliable wristwatches that could rival even the finest pocket watches of the day. At just 24 years old, Hans Wilsdorf arrived in London and co-founded Wilsdorf and Davis with his brother-in-law. They specialized in importing Swiss watch movements and placing them in stylish cases for the British market. But Hans had a bold vision. He didn't just want to sell watches, he wanted to create the perfect watch. In 1908, Hans registered the name Rolex. He wanted a name that was short, easy to pronounce in any language, and elegant enough to grace the face of a watch. Legend has it, the name came to him while riding a horse-drawn omnibus in London. From this moment, Rolex was born, not just as a brand, but as a promise of precision and perfection. Hans Wilsdorf's obsession with precision paid off in 1910 when Rolex became the first wristwatch to receive the Swiss Certificate of Chronometric Precision. It was a groundbreaking achievement, but Hans wasn't done yet. In 1926, Hans unveiled the Rolex Oyster, the world's first waterproof wristwatch. To prove its durability, he orchestrated a daring publicity stunt. Mercedes Gleitze, a swimmer, wore the Oyster during her attempt to cross the English Channel. The watch emerged unscathed, and Rolex made global headlines. Wristwatches were no longer just delicate accessories. Thanks to Hans, they became reliable tools for adventurers, pioneers, and visionaries. Hans Wilsdorf wasn't just a watchmaker. He was a marketing genius. He understood the power of association. By aligning Rolex with explorers climbing Everest, divers braving the ocean depths, and record-breaking aviators, Hans positioned Rolex as the watch of achievers. When humanity pushed the limits, Rolex was always on their wrist. It wasn't just a watch, it was a symbol of triumph. But Hans Wilsdorf's greatest achievement wasn't just creating Rolex, it was securing its future. In 1945, after the passing of his beloved wife Florence, Hans established the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation. He transferred ownership of Rolex to the foundation, ensuring that its profits would fund education, art, and charitable causes worldwide. This act of generosity ensured that Rolex would remain independent and that its success would continue to benefit society for generations. Hans Wilsdorf passed away on July 6, 1960, leaving behind a legacy that transcended time. By then, Rolex had already become a global symbol of precision, innovation, and luxury. His vision and relentless pursuit of perfection forever changed the world of horology. Today, every Rolex watch carries Hans Wilsdorf's spirit, a spirit that reminds us to push boundaries, embrace innovation, and leave a legacy that stands the test of time. Hans Wilsdorf's story isn't just about watches. It's about daring to dream, defying the odds, and creating something that endures. Rolex is more than a brand. It's a legacy. And it all began with one man's unwavering belief in the power of time.